Welcome to Nail Your Niche for motivated holistic health professionals who are ready for success. Brandon, let's hear from a couple folks who are on the line. Let's hear from two people. What's something they're excited about? You can poll them, have them press 1, or you can just choose someone randomly.
Yeah, let's start off with Gina, if you don't mind. What is something you are excited about for the call tonight?
Hi, I'm really excited because I want to do this marketing I'm writing a book, and I'm planning on trying to target the market for the book. So I'm very excited about that.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much for joining us on the call, Gina.
My pleasure.
All right. And one more person, if Crystal, if you don't mind sharing, what are you excited about for the call?
I am excited about everything in the call. I am gearing up for a major transformation right now that I don't even know how to explain, so I won't try to, but it is pretty big, and I am building a new skill set.
Awesome.
Love it.
Yeah.
I'm really thrilled to have you on the call, Crystal. What a surprise.
Thank you. Thanks, Ash.
Yes. We're going to jump right in. The truth for me is that we're all spiritual beings having a human experience. And while we are going to dig into the business skills that you need to succeed as a holistic entrepreneur, of which is really knowing your target market, being able to relate to a niche is the fundamental foundation to everything that you do in your business for a strategic business. And while that's the focus of the call, I want to just acknowledge that there is a light in you, and it's that light, it's that intelligence that is the true foundation of success. So just take a minute, take a nice deep breath. I invite you just to connect with that light in you. In whatever way, in whatever tradition is true for you, connecting with that spiritual truth. And if you're not into this idea that there's a spiritual foundation for success, then you can just ignore this part and stay tuned for the business principles, which will be totally worth it. But we really believe that there's a spiritual foundation for success in life. We just take a moment to honor that, to acknowledge that. Just take another deep breath, let the belly soften, let the spine be straight. Tuning in to your own nature, capital S, self. I'd like to share a story. It's a Native American or First Nations wisdom tradition about a Cherokee grandfather whose grandson comes to him and says, Grandfather, I've been torn between a choice to make with my friends. You see, they're teasing the slower kids, the shorter kids, the children who aren't as quick-witted or they're not as fast runners. And if I don't join in the teasing, I'm afraid that they will tease me as well. And the grandfather looked at the horizon in thought and turned to his beloved grandson. He said, My precious boy, in your heart there are two wolves. There's a dark wolf who feeds on anger and envy and jealousy and greed and superiority and inferiority, doubt and fear. And there's a light wolf who feeds on elegance and dignity and respect and growth, connection, spirit, life force. These two wolves will always be in your heart for all of your life. And they will always be fighting a battle for your heart. The boy said, "But grandfather, which wolf will win? Which wolf will win?" The grandfather said, "The wolf that you feed, my son, the wolf that you feed." 80% of success in your business comes from your psychology, your mindset, your own spiritual orientation, because when we're grounded and rooted in knowing who we are as ourself, capital S, we're able to identify where fear and doubt block us from moving forward. We learn to feed the right wolf. So most of success, 80% of success in business is an inner game. But the 20% of business skill is essential, and there are specific skills you need to learn as a holistic entrepreneur. That if you don't learn these industry-specific skills, you're not going to succeed, and you're going to be left with frustration, anger, feeding the wrong wolf. So while it's true that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, and you are the light, and we honor that, and we bless that, and we celebrate that in ourselves and in you, we also know that there's some heavy truths about the marketplace. And the marketplace is completely neutral. It responds to what you put into it. According to a recent article in Forbes, based on research, 8 out of 10 entrepreneurs who start a business fail within the first 18 months. That's the reality. That's the world we're living in. Less businesses have been starting in the United States, which continues to lead the world in entrepreneurship, but the trend has been going down. You see, entrepreneurship is an extension of spiritual principles. Entrepreneurship is an extension of infinite creative intelligence. People get an idea, they change the world. Creativity is the source of all wealth. Everything you see around us came from the human spirit. It came from innovation. Yet, there's still this rate of failure. This is the reality. So why are businesses failing? Write this down. There are 3 reasons why businesses fail. The first one is not in touch with their clients with any depth. In the article, it says the worst move an entrepreneur can make is to have your head in the sand and not be in touch with your clients. It says entrepreneurs must walk 1,000 miles in the shoes of their customers, not 10, not 100, 1,000. Now this is particularly tricky for me as a creative person because as an artist, as a creative, I have ideas that I want to bring to reality, but if I'm going to succeed in business, I need to meet the marketplace. So I need to be able to have my own internal values, vision, purpose, passion, creativity, innovation, but I also need to have some balance with the marketplace, 50%, 40%, 60%, depending on what I'm doing, so that I can have a business if I want to make money. Reason number 2 that holistic entrepreneurs fail, no differentiation in the marketplace. And what the article calls a lack of unique value proposition. That word is really important. And if you're not using this word yet, and you don't know what it means, that's okay. We're going to explain it to you. You're going to learn more about it, but it's just the business term that states your unique skills and offerings, how you're different than what other people are doing, the benefits that you offer, the features of your offer, and why choosing you would be a good idea for your ideal client. So we've covered reason number 1, lack of communication with your market, with your ideal clients, with your customers. Reason number 2, lack of differentiation in the marketplace, which is really another way of saying you don't have a target market. You haven't thought about having a niche. And reason number 3, you're then not following through on communicating effectively to your ideal client, to your niche, to your marketplace with that value proposition. So reason number one was I'm not listening. Reason number two is I'm not differentiating. Reason number three is I'm not communicating my value proposition clearly, concisely, in a compelling fashion. These, if you remember this, this will serve you in business for the rest of your life. These are three pitfalls that every holistic entrepreneur falls in to some extent. We want to help you avoid falling into that as best as we can this evening. In fact, we're going to give you as much information as possible, but we can't give you everything. So at the end of the presentation, we will share with you how you can put all this into practice in our Master Your Target Market course. In this call, in this webinar, you will learn the foundation to get and keep clients, the solution for connecting and attracting, and a reliable process for differentiation. You'll be able to solve these three problems. And what we're excited about is niche mapping. We're excited to share with you a cognitive framework and an intellectual process that will make clear this idea of niche or target market, even if you've studied it in the past and were left confounded or confused by other business teachers. You're going to be in for a pleasant surprise. You're going to get it. It's going to come together. You're going to have an aha moment, and it's going to feel good, and you're going to do a happy Snoopy dance. So before we get into this, a brief context of where I'm coming from. I started practicing as a health coach in Boulder, Colorado, where I also developed a practice as a clinical nutritionist. And Mandala Integrative Medicine Clinic was a delight. It was a delightful place to work, and I'm so thrilled and grateful to have had the opportunity to work alongside Colorado's first naturopathic physician, a Chinese medicine doctor, to have a physician-supervised practice where I had a doctor signing off for lab work. I had my own private label supplement line. I represented the major clinical supplement companies via my physician-supervised practice. We had the only herbalized chocolate apothecary in the state of Colorado. We had a whole treasure chest of superfoods that we sold and consumed. And it was a fantastic experience, and one of the great lessons that I learned was how to run a business, because Boulder, Colorado is the most competitive market in the country to run a holistic health practice. In addition to practicing in Boulder's only green-built integrative medicine clinic with low off-gassing paints and all-natural fibers and bamboo flooring, we also started a retreat business, taking people to Nosara, Costa Rica, and the Nicoya Peninsula, one of the blue zones where people live statistically longer and healthier lives. And in addition to that, I published my first book, Healthy, Fast, and Cheap, which got picked up by a major publisher just by luck. Actually, it's really interesting because my friend Crystal's on this call. I haven't talked to you in years, and you are directly responsible for my book getting picked up by a publisher. So it's a small world of synchronicities. And that book sold 25,000 copies in 1 year at Borders in Walden, which technically qualifies it as a New York Times bestseller list book. Somewhere on that list. Probably pretty low, but hey, it was on that list. Now the cool thing here is that I was very successful. And the downside to that was that I never really took the time to do the target market work, and I paid a price. I paid a big price. People think, yeah, I want to succeed quickly. I want to have success fast. Well, it's not always the best. Because I was very successful building my practice, I then started a second business, and then I started a third business. So I had a publishing business, I had my health coaching business, and I had a retreat business, but I also had an online business, a fourth business that was operating that never really got off the ground, and everything started to tank. my life started to fall apart. I was running 3 businesses while I had a young family. I was getting a divorce. And while I was making more money than ever, more money than my parents, more money than my grandparents, I was going into more and more debt. What was happening? How could this be? Well, although I knew a lot about business because I applied myself to study and I was very charismatic and passionate and motivated, and I had this spiritual fire, this light that wanted to shine, that only can get me so far. I still need that accurate 20% of those business skills, and I did not listen. So what was preventing me from doing it right? I had excuses, and here are the list of top excuses I could come up with. Number 1, I don't have enough time. I kept telling myself I don't have enough time to sit down and do the work to figure out target market and do a really solid business plan based on what the best books that I had read had told me. I kind of just wanted to skip ahead right to the sales part. And I said, it's not the right time. I was caught up in selling. And one of the mistakes of a young business is mistaking early phase revenue for profit. So I was selling, closing the deal, getting more clients, selling more books, selling more products, but I did not have this strategy in place. I don't think I can really do it. This may be the actual reason that I didn't, is that I had self-doubt every time I considered this. It made me get in touch with that part of myself that just thinks, geez, do I really have anything to offer? Do I really have a skill to bring to the marketplace? That stopping, that slowing down, that being with myself, that Buddhist notion of loneliness and the avoidance that we do by keeping ourselves busy, whether through work or TV or Facebook or drama or whatever the thing may be, but that we have a really hard time being still and settled and really being with ourselves. I had this crazy notion that I have a family, I just have to keep working, I don't have time to strategize. That doesn't make any sense, but the ego oftentimes doesn't make any sense. I could have invested in working with a coach or doing a program, but I didn't have enough money. I also was pretty confused by a lot of what people were teaching at the time when I was starting. This was quite a while ago. When I would get close to a niche or a target market, I'd just second guess myself and get stuck and then give up on it. But maybe, if I were really honest, I would say the real problem was arrogance. I'd say I'm just going to figure this out on my own, and all this other stuff doesn't apply to me because I'm special in some way. I wasn't teachable. I wasn't humble. I wasn't ready to listen to experts. Fast forward to 2012, the release of my latest book, Indestructible Success. I've taken the time to really think through and research what does it take to be successful as a holistic professional. Taking all the successes that I've had and the failures and learning from both, putting it together in books and courses and material. Now, our mission is to help 10,000 holistic health professionals to serve 100 people each year, thereby touching the lives of 1 million people. And by doing so, and get this, because this is what is the core of our mission, by doing so, we want to contribute to the wave of transformation on the planet. We want to contribute to the transformation and evolution of consciousness, nothing less. It may be grandiose, but we all need ideals, and this is our ideal. Because it's great to meditate or to be into spiritual principles or to be into higher consciousness, but we believe that holistic entrepreneurs are the people at the ground level, on the street, rubber meet the road, who are making those shifts for the status quo, for the mainstream, getting in there and helping people to see that what you eat, that the structure of your body, that the way you feel, being in harmony with your own body connects you to other people, to nature, to the environment, to the ecosystem. It is the beginning of the catalyst for a change in consciousness for the individual, which allows them to see the bigger picture and the whole, and I think is the most important thing we can do to change the world. We also teach at Bastyr University, we teach at Pacific College of Oriental Medicine, we teach at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. So that's just a little bit about how we get to where we are tonight, to be with you, and to teach you how you can nail your niche. So in our research over the last 5 years, what we found over and over again were a series of problems. But then we discovered that really there's only one major problem, and that's finding, getting, keeping, expanding clients, customers, revenue, patients. And that everything else is really a function of that issue. When you solve that issue, it seems like everything else kind of comes into balance. However, the obstacles to achieving consistent clients, keeping consistent clients, expanding your client base, usually number one obstacle is I'm overwhelmed, I'm distracted, I don't know where to start. Sometimes people call it time management. It's really not time management, it's really chronic overwhelm. And I don't know anybody who's not suffering from that in some way, whether it's an overload of great ideas, it's a clogging of concepts in the mind of all the things you could possibly do, whether it's fear of failure that's keeping all those congestion in the brain, in the heart, in the body, whether it's just seeing all the possibility and seeing through social media and seeing through all the cool stuff that's happening. Wow, there's so many possibilities. It's a chronic overwhelm. Number two obstacle. People ask us, we want to know what's the best way to get out in front of people? What's the best way to market my business, my practice, my product? How do I build awareness in my community? How do I get attention on social media? How do I get, quote, out there and get started? Great series of questions, the foundation of which is having a niche and a target market with niche mapping. We'll get to that, which leads to number three. People want to know, how do I narrow my niche? Maybe they've taken a course. Maybe they've done business training programs. Maybe they've even done business training programs for creative and holistic individuals, but they still are confused and confounded. And then finally, the consistent theme, the major obstacle, that inner fear, that troublesome, pernicious influence of the ego and its habitual focus on worst case scenario and what if it doesn't work out, what if people don't like me. So let's take a deeper dive into these obstacles. Distraction, overwhelm, not knowing where to start. The way to solve this is to get a map, is to have a predictable and reliable path. This is one of the business skills, the 20%. And it needs to be industry specific. The map that works for conventional business is not the same map that works for holistic entrepreneurs. Now, if you know me, I'm a typical guy. I don't like to stop and ask for directions. I want to try to figure it out on my own, and as we've identified, that was one of my excuses that kept me in that perpetual overwork, overwhelm, earning more while going into debt, slowly falling into deeper and deeper problems. The other obstacle that we didn't mention but bears fleshing out is holistic entrepreneurs sometimes just have an aversion to marketing. And they describe it as selling out. Now, I don't know what selling out looks like. I can't tell you what selling out looks like. It's really up to you, to your own values. I have a sense of what selling out might look like. But the obstacle for holistic health professionals is if I begin marketing, if I do sales in my business, I'm going to end up selling out. And I respect that. I honor that. And there's enough selling out in the world. But the opposite of selling out, and where too many holistic entrepreneurs are living, is under-earning, chronic under-earning. In fact, holistic professionals as a whole have a disease of under-earning. It's a cultural norm. and we got to talk about it. We got to do something about it. I've under-earned as a holistic professional. I know what it's like. I see all the people around me doing it. We need to come out of the cave around this topic, bring it to the light of consciousness, and be able to acknowledge, hey, this is what's happening. So what are we going to do about it? And what we're going to do about it, I think, is summed up by this quote from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., when he says that seldom are the self-assertive humble and the humble self-assertive. So get that. Just think about that for a moment. Seldom are the self-assertive humble and the humble self-assertive. This tension of opposites he's talking about. And he goes on to say, but life at its best is a creative synthesis of opposites in fruitful harmony. He's talking about the thesis and antithesis. In his book, A Testament of Hope, there is an entire chapter dedicated to this idea that the leader of tomorrow, that the powerful individual who will guide others, bears within their heart and soul the thesis and the antithesis, the hard-headed and soft-hearted qualities. And for the sake of our presentation, what we're talking about is that soft-hearted, connected, spiritually oriented, grounded consciousness and the hard-headed entrepreneurial business systems see it as it is, not worse than it is, not better than it is, but call a spade business thinking that you need to succeed in the marketplace. That's the synthesis that we're talking about, and that, my friends, is the synthesis that we've been fine-tuning over the last few years with niche mapping. Niche mapping revolutionizes the concept of discovering your niche because it removes niche from a narrow, two-dimensional concept and puts it squarely where it belongs on an axis of two spectrums in a four-quadrant model. The primary axis is between your inner and your outer worlds. This is that synthesis of these opposites, that healthy creative tension. You see, most holistic entrepreneurs are taught that success in mastering your target market, nailing your niche, is a matter of discovering the inner dimension, the inner motivation, the inner drive, the vision, the inspiration, the passion, your personal story, your mission, your creativity, your purpose, your skills, talents, capacities, your values. And that's true. You got to have that. But you also need the outer reality. And we're talking about financial reality. Where is the economy of the nation you live in? Where's the economy of the region you live in? What's the economy of the people that you're attempting to reach out to? How do you do that? How do you do market research? Are you targeting people who are actively seeking a solution, who have an emotional need to solve their problems? Is your target market big enough? Are there enough people searching for this problem? Will this work? Will this bear out? Along the y-axis, we see problem and demographic as the other spectrum. And oftentimes, people teach that your niche is just the problem that you solve. Quite often for holistic health professionals, it's something like, I help people with type 2 diabetes, or I help people with fertility issues, or my niche is people with heart disease. Opposite to that, you've also maybe heard people teaching that your niche is a demographic. Oh, I help women between the ages of 30 and 50. I work with baby boomers. I help new moms. The demographic is everything from your region, which is a very important demographic piece of information because most people are still working within a region unless you're working entirely online. It's people who have a shared set of opinions. There's a political differentiation oftentimes. There's professional distinctions. Is it corporate? Is it more entrepreneurial? So what are the demographic themes? Problem and demographic live on a spectrum. It's not one or the other. It's both. It's I help busy moms who have low energy because I have a personal passion for this topic, and I've decided that, yes, there are 20 million new moms and they have spending power. That would be the use of niche mapping. So how do you put this into play? Depends on having the right tools. And what are the right tools? And why is it imperative to use them? What are the right tools? And why is it imperative to use them? The first tool is assessment. You must assess. Why? Because without research, you're shooting blind. Now, most people feel fairly comfortable doing inner assessment. What's my passion? What's my purpose? What's my vision? Although we could always come back to this and be more thorough. Where holistic entrepreneurs need help is the outer assessment. And then not only to check inner and outer, but to assess what are the problems that I'm qualified to solve and what are the demographics that I can serve, that I can have rapport with, that I want to serve. Lorraine Wilson went through this process, and after assessing, she had this to say: "This process focused and re-energized my enthusiasm for marketing my business by helping me to identify my ideal clients' wants and needs, and to share my unique skill set as a coach." She's talking about that creative synthesis. She's talking about having both a connection to the marketplace and knowing her skill set. That's what we're talking about. The next piece that you must have, what you need and why. You need to be able to speak to one. What does that mean, speak to one? It means you need to have an idea of an ideal client. You need to be able to formulate an imagined ideal client who will be using your product or service. Now, why is this important, you may ask? You may say, but there are hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people I can help. That's true. But every time you communicate, you're communicating to one person, even if you are speaking to 1,000. Now, I'm a professional speaker. I go out and I speak to groups of 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. And in front of an audience, there are two ways to communicate. I could communicate to everybody, or I could communicate to one person. Now, let me give you an example. If I communicate to everyone, I would say, how many of you are prepared to make a decision to master your target market and increase your income and impact for more good in the world? How many of you are prepared to make a decision to master your target market? You can have more impact, income, clients, patients, do more good in the world. That's the first example. Here's the second example. Listen to this. Have you made the decision to master your target market, to have more impact, income, and make a bigger effect of good on the world? Have you decided to master your target market and have more impact, more income, and have a more beneficial presence in the world? Which one of those phrases is more powerful? Most people say the second one, because when you hear how many of you, you're thinking, wow, I wonder who's going to answer that. But if you hear, have you, the mind responds. The mind says, oh, I'm going to interact. This is the power of speaking to one, and this is why you need to have a practice and a system that helps you learn to speak to one person at a time. Sheba in Atlanta went through this process, and she was able to pinpoint her market by doing this process we've just described, getting really clear on the one. Because of that, she was able to get moving, get unstuck. And the third step, what you need is marketing DNA. You need to be able then to extrapolate on that speaking to one and speak to many by having the DNA that you can pull out and create an aggregate view of your ideal clients as finally a target market. It's thinking then of all of those people together as a conglomeration and then having a way to communicate to that group through your marketing DNA. Now let me just explain that a little bit. When you do the assessment and you look at inner, outer, problem, and demographic, and you learn to speak to one, then you want to have a guiding document for your own mind, for your own internal work. Internal not meaning in heart and mind and inner work in yourself, but in your business, creating talks, teleclasses, your URL, your website, your social media, like your Facebook page, articles, books. Anything that you're going to create is going to be then influenced by this marketing DNA. It's going to be an amalgamation of all that assessment and ideal client profile content that you've created. And from there, you have the foundation for an authentic, education-based marketing platform that's invitational, that is mission. Your marketing becomes your mission, so that when you're marketing, you're actually educating, so that your marketing is not different than what you're going to do with your clients. What a fantastic thing when marketing becomes mission, when mission becomes marketing. There's no separation to, oh, I got to market my business, I hate marketing, to, okay, I can see this. I'm going to market my business, and in the process, I'm going to educate people, inspire people, and I'll raise the level of success for everybody in the holistic entrepreneurial field. When you use education-based marketing, you're countering all of the, dare I say, bullshit propaganda. Would that be okay? I hope that's okay to go there. That we see from all these mainstream companies that are flat out lying about their products. And we're beginning to use educational marketing not only to promote ourselves, but to promote the ideas for which we stand, which helps move the whole of our field of holistic worldview forward. So Brent did this, and because he did this sequence, he was able to do in 30 minutes what he'd been struggling to do for 12 months. Specifically because he learned how to put the marketing DNA together. And as I said, this is the foundation for your elevator pitch, your talks, your workshop titles and content, your teleclasses, your webinar titles and content, your special report titles and content, social media engagement, website, blog, brand development. Everything comes from here. It's really useful and helpful to have this done, because then you can just go back. And when you become familiar with your marketing DNA and you use it all the time, you don't even need to go back and reference it. It just begins to live in you. It begins to become part of your vocabulary. It just comes effortlessly. You write it, you speak it, you own it. So here's an example of someone who has done a great job of nailing their niche. This is my buddy Luke. Luke and I went to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition together back in 2005. And I remember when we were students, we went through a second-year program called Immersion. And I was building my practice really fast, and I was working full-time as a health coach. And Luke was just kind of getting going. And he was just overcoming some of the psychological barriers to success that we've talked about. And he used to post in our forums this affirmation. Hi, my name is Lucas Sipe Williams, full-time holistic health counselor. Hi, my name is Lucas Sipe Williams, full-time holistic health counselor. Now he's got an incredibly successful business. He just keeps showing up and paying his dues. And this is what his culmination point to this date looks like 30-day man up. Now, here's what's interesting about the 30-day man up. Even though I've gone through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition and metabolic typing and done tons of courses to be a professional in the holistic health field, I still need to work on my own health. I still need help. So I do Luke's 30-day man up program. I pay to repeat as an alumni of the program. I do it more than once a year. And it's a fantastic program because I'm one of his ideal clients. I fit his ideal client profile. He wants to work with men in their 30s and 40s who are change makers, who are serving the world. And I get on. He knows my number. He knows exactly where my excuses are. He knows me. He knows the type of person that I am. And he knows my weak points. So his program is geared to be very powerful for me, and that's an example of someone who's nailed their niche and is attracting ideal clients. So I'd like to pause at this point in the presentation and invite you to a reality check with yourself. Sit down with yourself right now and just ask yourself, say, self, how you doing this year? Have you been playing full out? Could you shine more of your light? Could you be more of a warrior? For the warrior artist, the stakes are high and the risks are real. And at every turn, resistance is there, attempting to thwart your forward momentum. How you been doing? Has resistance been getting the best of you? Has fear or doubt been taking you out of the game? Have you been holding back? Have those excuses been holding you back? Look, 2014, May. We got one more month and the year's half over. What will you do to make sure the last 6 months of 2014 are the best they could possibly be? Because these spiritual principles, shining your light, is the base of success. It's the foundation, our mindset, our psychology. But without this 20% right, without these business systems right, you'll end up doing what I've done, burning out, fatigue, frustration. And 2014 will be left with you with the nagging thought, I'm working harder, other people are getting results, why not me? Ugh, I hate that. So what's the solution? What is the solution to building these business principles to match the spiritual light, the feeding the right wolf in your heart with the right attitude and beliefs and thoughts? What are the business principles that match these spiritual principles? How do you avoid the burnout, the frustration, the fatigue? Well, as I promised, we are going to share with you exactly how you can do this within 30 days in our Master Your Target Market course. This puts all together for you. Now, we are sharing as much as possible with you tonight. But to walk you through, hold your hand step by step through this process takes a little longer than an hour and a half. And in that process, we take you through a pre-niche assessment. We walk you through hand by hand on a call, first call, May 19th. Pre-niche assessment will walk you through the inner, the outer, the problems, and the demographics. The next step on the call on May 26th is the ideal client attraction process. Not only will you get the home workbook and the live call with hot seat coaching, but you'll get the recordings as well to listen to repeatedly over and over again. The Master Your Target Market course then gives you the value proposition vending machine from which you put in ideas and out comes marketing DNA. And this, my friends, gives you your talk titles, workshops, special report. All of that content flows directly out of this. Now, what's unique about our delivery and our offering is we're using Maestro Conference. And Maestro Conference gives us the ability to put you into breakout groups. Now, we don't do that on this webinar because it's just too complicated to switch back and forth between presentations. And there are a lot of people on this call, and it's a lot to keep track of. For your training calls, you call in, we have interaction, we check in with you, we teach, you share your homework, we put some hot seat coaching on, and then you go into a breakout. And in that breakout, you get to workshop this material. So everything you've heard about on this call, you get to workshop with other holistic entrepreneurs. You get to give them feedback. You get to give their feedback. You get to share. You get to commiserate. You get to connect. You get to laugh. It feels good. You feel connected. You're breaking isolation, one of those excuses that you saw that I used to tell myself. And when you break isolation, you find that although you might be stuck on one of these topics, you have feedback and help and can see a breakthrough for someone else. And they say, wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's a really great insight. Wow, this is so cool. And then you say, yeah, I've been stuck with this. And they say, hey, have you thought about? And boom, you've got a breakthrough. So we can see for others what we can't see for ourselves. So we facilitate that in a best in class, really the gold standard of virtual training platforms. Then you come back to the big group. We give you one-on-one coaching. We answer your questions. And the great thing is you complete each step on the calls. You get it done. We're not going to just be talking heads. You won't have to listen to me just blab on like on this call. You'll get to actually work and get the marketing material done while having fun. And how cool is that? Completing marketing material and having fun at the same time? It's a freaking miracle. You'll get recordings of all the calls as MP3s, or you can listen to them as streaming audio. So if, for any unfortunate reason, you have to miss a call, you've got the recordings, and you have access to all of this for 12 months in a members area, all the home study guides, any worksheets, all the recordings, downloadable, or you can listen to them as streaming online from any device. What happens when you enroll in the Master Your Target Market course? Well, like Barry, you'll use the tools. He gave his first talk, got 5 clients, just like that. Susan Kennedy said, recommend this value pack 3-session program to anyone. I've been to many workshops through the years, and this content made it interesting and easy to follow. I felt prepared with the right tools to dial in my target market and create my hot hook. This course is truly invaluable. Seth's an excellent teacher and mentor. Not only did I have a great time, but I gained the confidence to solidify my target market, says Lisa from Georgia. Emily Rose Shaw just moved to LA. Health coach, radio host, earth diet expert, said the value proposition vending machine was the most potent business writing that I have ever done, and I have done a lot of programs. A powerful testimonial knowing what programs she has done. So to recap, you've learned the 3 top reasons 8 out of 10 holistic entrepreneurs fail. Do you remember what they are? Did you take notes? Those 3 reasons aren't going to change. These are going to be the pitfalls, and if you learn them now, you can keep coming back, and you'll be able to prop up those areas, avoid those pitfalls, build a walkway. You'll be able to walk around them. You know, the definition of insanity, I'm sure many of you have heard this, is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Recognize those pitfalls, write them down, avoid them. You've learned the obstacles for getting clients: being overwhelmed, doubt, fear, being distracted, having an aversion to marketing, not knowing where to start, not knowing how to put yourself out there, and not knowing how to nail your niche. Then you learned what you need to do exactly, step by step. Do an assessment. Learn how to speak to one. create a marketing DNA. And you've learned this entirely new innovative approach to niche called niche mapping, which totally clears up all the different facets that need to be brought into play in order for you to authentically nail your niche. And you learn how that once you do this, you create an authentic foundation for marketing, marketing that becomes mission, marketing that is an extension of who you are. And you've learned about the Master Your Target Market course because we can give you as much as possible in this call, but we can't give you everything and we can't walk you through step by step. To do that, we really need to spend some time together. And I want to invite you to join us. I want to invite you to take that step, join us so that within 30 days, by June, you will have your target market mastered. You'll have your niche nailed. By 6 months, by half year mark, you will know I've got this done. And what a great feeling that is. What a great feeling to know that you've had substantial progress, that you have really made a stand to shine your light, that you decided, I'm going to feed the right wolf. I'm going to be part of the solution. I'm going to do this right. I'm not going to let those excuses that kept Seth stuck, causing burnout, frustration, etc., stop me. Those excuses like, I don't have enough time, is this really going to work? I'll figure it out on my own, this doesn't apply to me. Don't let the excuse of not having enough money, because we've taken money off the table. We've made this accessible for everybody. You will be surprised at how low the price is. We have created an irresistible offer for you. For the rest of the year, the final 6 months of the year, you could be building your business from a solid foundation. You could be able to speak to one. You could have your marketing DNA. You could have that assessment. You could really do it right. You could just get in there and parse it out. You know, it's like preparing a good meal. If you skip the step and you don't properly prepare the garlic for sautéing, then the flavor doesn't come out right. And then the meal doesn't really sing. I mean, it might fill your belly, but it doesn't flip the switch, cause things to hum, give you that tremendous satisfaction, build that ojas, just really, Likewise, you could keep moving forward, but without this foundation, you'll always be missing something in your business. You'll get the 3 live calls, you get the pre-niche home study guide, you get the ideal client home study guide, you get the value proposition, the MP3 recordings, the live streaming, the elevator pitch template. These are bonuses, elevator pitch template, 30-day marketing plan. But most importantly, you've done it right. You've got your foundation. You fed the right wolf. You know, that wolf that feeds on fear and doubt, that says like, oh, I don't know, maybe this isn't going to work. Yeah, that's all great, but I don't really think it's going to work. Do not let your decisions in life be guided by that wolf. Feed the right wolf. Invest in yourself. Invest in your light, being part of the solution and doing it right. We've taken money off the table because there's a 100% guarantee that anything you invest in this course, hey, if you don't get all that you could ever imagine, we'll refund your payment in full, no questions asked. We're still friends. Objects are closer than they appear. That's our guarantee. If you don't get tremendous value, we're going to give you all your money back. So money is off the table. It's not a reason not to do it. So just watch your mind. Watch your mind, watch your mind, watch your mind. Is it making excuses and saying, I don't know? Feed the right wolf. To make it even more irresistible to just completely take money off the table so that you can invest in yourself, so that you can go out there, so we can support you, so we can continue to have fun and move this wave forward, to move this evolution of consciousness forward on the planet in very tangible, real ways. If you sign up now, and Brandon will send you a link that you will either get now or within the next few minutes. If you sign up now, you can sign up for only $147. That gets you the whole course. That gets you 6 months of doing it right in 2014, where you've got it. You've got the foundation. You're moving forward. You've fed the right wolf. You're feeling inspired. Your light is shining, and you have the business systems right. Even better, you can pay for this in a 3-month payment of $50 over 3 months. 3 payments of $50. Money's off the table. The only obstacle now is fear and doubt. We know that fear and doubt feed the dark wolf. Keeps you hiding, keeps you biting, keeps you in that spiral of downward focused energy. When you make the choice now, you liberate energy. You make a commitment to the universe. You say yes, and you begin moving forward on a solid foundation. Here are the exact steps you can take. Brandon's sending you the link, or you can type this in, healthcoachweekly.com, master your target market, MYTM, healthcoachweekly.com, MYTM. There is no sign-up button on the right side of your screen. That was the night when we did Google Hangouts. Forgot to update this slide. Yeah. So you can click the link that Brandon's going to send you, or you can type this in, healthcoachweekly.com, master your target market, MYTM. You can either choose to pay in full or the 3-pay option in PayPal, which will be a $147 or 3 payments of $50 each. That's an incentive of $100 in your pocket if you register now on this call. You'll get an introductory email. Usually it's automated, and unless there are no problems, you'll get it right away. Otherwise, you'll get it within 24 hours. If there are any technical issues, we'll make sure you get it within 24 hours. And by tomorrow, you'll get your first lesson. You'll automatically be registered for reminders and webinar and call-in credentials from Maestro Conference. So when you click the link and register, everything you need will be automatically sent to you. You'll get reminders. And then finally, the last steps you'll take are to block out Mondays, May 19th, May 26th, June 2nd, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific for an hour and a half. Those will be your calls. Those will be gold. If you need to miss a call, we don't recommend it, but it'll still work because we will send you the recordings. So to recap, within you is a light, a shining, radiant self, capital S. And we believe that we're spiritual humans, spiritual beings having human experience. And that this is the foundation for all success. Coming into relationship with that light in you. And that this is really 80% of success in life, in any endeavor, relationships, health, business. But that 20% is essential, and you need industry-specific maps. You need to know what works for you, what's reliable. You've learned about the 3 biggest obstacles that holistic entrepreneurs are going to face: not listening to their clients' needs, not differentiating themselves with a value proposition, and then not communicating that value proposition clearly. You've learned about the biggest specific challenge for holistic entrepreneurs: getting, keeping, expanding your client base, and then the specific problems that are associated with that: feeling overwhelmed, being averse to marketing, not knowing where to start, not knowing your niche, fear and doubt. You've learned the solution to do an assessment, a really thorough assessment, to learn how to speak to one and to create your marketing DNA, and you've learned exactly how you can do that. We've given you as much as we can on this call, and we invite you to continue your journey with us in the Master Your Target Market course so that 2014 finishes strong, that by June 15th, you've nailed it. You've mastered your target market, and for the final 6 months of the year, you've got this foundation in place. And not only that, you've got the tools to continue to revisit this in a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and for the next decades, because these tools will continue to reap benefits for you. The more you use them, in fact, the more value you will get. So Brandon, let's go ahead and open up the lines and see if there are any questions regarding the Master Your Target Market course. Questions about joining, enrolling, content.
All right. I am going to open up the lines in just a second. If anyone has a question, go ahead and press 1. I will call on you, and then you can ask your question, whether it be questions about the course, questions about what we've covered today on the call. So go ahead and press 1 with any questions. All right, Nicole, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Seth. And is it Brandon?
Hey. It is Brandon, yes.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you very much for putting this together. I got this rather last minute, and it was just perfect for where I am. But just a little bit about myself. I just graduated from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition program back in February, and I have to confess that I just got through by the skin of my teeth. And this whole target market audience thing has been eluding me and confusing me, and I'm feeling a little unprepared to join, but I did actually just sign up for the niche mapping program. But
Great.
I just wanted to throw out there for anyone else, I feel like I'm a little bit out of my league. Maybe others have been practicing for a little while, but I'm also feeling, since I feel like I am the perfect client for getting more clarity and getting extremely specific, that this is actually going to put me in a better position to launch very well and successfully, perhaps on the first try. So I wanted to maybe ask you guys if what I'm hoping for is probably what you're hoping to offer people in a similar situation like me.
That's great. First I just want to applaud you for stepping out there and just kind of bring back to the one of these excuses that we hear oftentimes is the mind just does this. It just says like, wow, maybe I'm out of my league. But the other excuse is sometimes people think, well, I've been doing this for so long, maybe if I haven't figured it out now, I'm just not going to sign up. So it kind of doesn't matter where you're at. This is the right step to do if you haven't ever thoroughly done this foundation work, and in a way you're going to be at an advantage because you won't have the bad habits developed yet.
I love that. Phew.
Yes.
Okay.
So just begin. And step forward boldly, because boldness has magic, genius, and power in it.
Okay, then I'm feeling even better that I just signed up.
Yes.
Perfect. Absolutely. Yeah, I just have to mirror what Seth said. One of my mentors always says, fortune favors the bold. And I could not agree more. So way to step out there. And then secondly, yeah, we do have a lot of people who are exactly in your spot. We have people actually, students in the program still. And we also do have people on the other end of the spectrum. Last course we had a lady who's been practicing for 20 years who just wanted to redefine her niche and just kind of stay ahead of her market. So, I mean, anyone's really welcome who just needs more definition of their niche. And it's really becoming more necessary these days, with the economy, with the competition in business, to really master this step. So I applaud you. Thanks for joining us, Nicole.
Thank you both.
Perfect. All right. Anyone else have a question? Go ahead and press 1.
Yeah, I was just looking for, one of them wanted to show Nicole's content that work with, but since I'm screen share mode, I don't want to like start flipping through all my stuff here and just be distracting. So yes, any chat questions? Any other questions before we wrap up?
Doesn't look like we have any other questions.
Okay, great. Well, just to close for the evening, thank you all for taking your time to be with us. We honor you, we celebrate you, we see the light in you, and we encourage you to continue to step out, shine your light, feed the right wolf, and take bold action to build your practice. Sign up, join us for the Master Your Target Market course so we can continue to share all of these powerful tools with you, and that you can end the year with a foundation built on strength, built on solidity, built on reliable, predictable business skills. Thanks, everybody.